Hello guys! So, today I am going to talk about international connecting flights. In case you don't know what this is, well, a connecting flight happens when you have to board 2 or more different planes in order to reach your final destination. I will give you some basic and general tips that I think are good to know before you go in this kind of trips, specifically while traveling on your own for the first time, because traveling alone can be challenging and let's admit it, airports are a crazy place. So I will tell you about my experiences, and this way you can learn from my mistakes. These are some tips that I wish someone would have told me before I first traveled by myself, because things turned out a different way than I had expected, and I was freaking out most of the time. So I hope you find these tips useful. Something that is really important when you're traveling internationally is, well, your passport, your visa, documents like hotel reservations, invite letters, a doctor's note, anything of the sort. So you need to have all of your identifications and other important documents organized, because once you get to customs, which is the place where officers check your luggage and ask you why you want to enter the country, well, everything happens really fast because there is a lot of people that has to go through customs. So you need to keep all of this at hand. My recommendation is to use a folder so you'll find anything they ask you for easily. For example, one of these models, because these are closed except for just one end, so none of your documents will fall out. This is the one that I've used and it is great, but still sometimes I do have a little bit of trouble with it because, well, you have to do all of this to get it open. So I would recommend this one more because, well, it's easier to open, and also this has like a horizontal shape. So you get to see all the documents clearly while you're looking for them, and that's going to be easier to hand them out rather than looking from them, from the top, which is the case of the orange one. So that is going to be more efficient. Or if you want, you can buy one of this, but maybe with a less complex opening thing. Also, while in customs, don't give the officers anything they're not asking you for, even though you have like 10 important documents with you. If they just ask you for your passport and your visa, then you're good to go. So when I first traveled on my own, I had a connecting flight in Dallas, which compared to my hometown airport, this was huge and I was not prepared. I don't remember exactly how much time I had until my next flight was supposed to leave, but it was probably a little bit less than an hour. And my mistake here was that I thought that amount of time was going to be enough, which of course it wasn't. When I got off the plane, I was super calm, super relaxed, and super confident, saying things like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be there like 10 minutes earlier, this is gonna be a piece of cake, I can do this, until I saw the huge line for customs. That is when I started to freak out. I was like, I'm not gonna make it. I spent pretty much all the time I had till my next flight in line, and when I finally got to the other side, I still had to get to, like, let's say Terminal B, and I was in Terminal E, so there was no chance. So when you have very little time till your next flight and you do end up losing it, well, after passing customs, just get to the check-in desk of the airline that you're traveling with, and they will book you up for the next flight that has an available spot for you. And hopefully you won't have to wait that long. Also, this is extremely important. Even if you do have enough time till your next flight and you're already waiting at the gate, well, don't get too overconfident because the gate for your departure may change anytime. This happened to me. I had like 2 hours till my connecting flight and I was traveling within the US, so the process to get there was much faster. Of course, I was super confident. I was like, yeah, I'm on a roll. I'm finally going to catch a connecting flight. I waited at the gate and I didn't see anyone getting in line to board the plane. So like 10 minutes later, I finally decided to ask someone if there was a problem with the flight. And the lady at the gate desk checked the computer and she just told me, well, you have lost your flight. And I was like, what? I was here the whole time. How did that happen? And she said that the gate had changed. This was probably bad luck because things like this always happen to me. So don't let it happen to you, please. Always pay attention to the screens that are all over the airport showing the status information about the flights. Or if you're too lazy or you just can't seem to find your flight there, you can ask the person who is at the gate desk if there is any changes or delays for your flight, and she or he will tell you everything you need to know. When you're at the check-in desk of your original destination, make sure that your luggage is being taken to your final destination. If it is not, then once you get off your first flight, you will have to pick it up and check in again for the final destination. If you don't do this, you might end up losing it forever because this will not be an airline problem. This is entirely your responsibility. Sometimes your luggage does arrive at your final destination, but make sure to ask before boarding for your first flight. Please, 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 please. If you do have to pick it up, you can ask the officer at customs where the baggage claim is. Or once you've passed customs, there is a lot of staff that can help you out. Or, well, I don't know, maybe you are too shy to ask anyone, but do not worry. There are signs everywhere, so just follow those. Also, this is really important as well. Make sure that your suitcase or bag is noticeable. This will help you identify it easily, and in case it gets lost, well, it will be easier for you to describe it and for the airline to find it. So if your bag has a regular color and you do not want to buy a new one, you can just put color straps on it or a colorful ribbon, and I think that will be good enough. And of course, make sure that all your bags are closed properly. Sometimes I tend to pack a lot more than necessary, and probably I'm not the only one. But when you're traveling alone, don't overload yourself because, well, you are on your own. And if you're carrying a lot of stuff around, it may be hard to keep track of it, and you may end up losing or forgetting something. Even if it is your first time traveling alone, act like you know what you're doing. If you're freaking out for whatever reason, honestly, do it on the inside. Because you know, people are hard to read. You don't know what they're thinking or what their true intentions are. So if they see that you are alone and insecure, it's going to be easier for them to try something or to steal something from you. And of course, we don't want that. So act confident. And also, if you see someone who is alone and freaking out, try to help them. One time I was waiting in Salt Lake City's airport for my connecting flight back to Mexico when this girl approached me and asked me if I spoke Spanish. I told her I did, and then she started freaking out. She told me that she had a connecting flight but didn't know where to go and that her flight was leaving in like 30 minutes. And I didn't want to freak her out more by telling her that she might not catch her flight. So what I did was ask her for her ticket and stole it from her. Just kidding. Honestly, what I did was to look at the screens and, well, I couldn't find her flight number there. So I asked the lady that was at the gate desk closer to us, and she told me that the flight was delayed. So that was a relief. I told the girl which gate and terminal she had to go to, and she was really thankful. So yeah, even though I miss my connecting flights pretty much every time, I now know what to do and I get to help others. Well, this is pretty obvious. I mean, you're going to be walking a lot and the airport environment may be a little bit stressful. So make sure you wear loose clothes and shoes that are comfy, and very important, shoes that are easy to put on and to take off, because this will make your process through security a lot faster, and not just for you, but for the rest of the people who are behind you in line. If you are traveling with other people, perhaps this is not as important, but as a first-time solo traveler, make sure that your devices are fully charged, or at least that you have a charger with you. Not in your luggage, but in your carry-on. This way you can charge your devices while you're waiting for your next flight or once you've boarded the plane. Because you need to have a way to communicate with people. Perhaps someone is picking you up at your final destination. They need to know that your flight has been delayed or that you've missed your connecting flight and they will book you up for the next one. Anything of the sort, or maybe just for safety, make sure that all of your devices are fully charged. Also, if there is any medicine that you need to take every few hours, make sure that you have a prescription for it, so you don't have problems at security or any other important panel. And finally, I would recommend you take some toilet paper or napkins with you because, well, you never know. Okay guys, that will be all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and you find it helpful. Of course, the more you travel, the more experienced you will become. And trust your abilities, but do not hesitate to ask if you really don't know what to do. Bye!